If you struggle with the feeling of always being behind, but want to live a life that feels more organized so that your home environment is just more peaceful and you can actually enjoy your life with your young family, this is the episode that you don't want to miss. Our whole focus is to help you find harmony in your everyday life by leveraging your own natural energy cycles. I've seen far too many polarizing posts about the exact night routine that you should follow or the multi-step morning routine that sets your day up for success. And the truth is, you have to pick a strategy that's really ultimately going to set you up for your personal success. So it's my hope that this is an episode designed to help you achieve just that. I'm going to walk you through a self-audit for your own energy levels, and then we're going to talk about how you can align your tasks accordingly. And we're also going to spend some time diving into how you can manage those days where you're feeling constantly exhausted, where you don't feel like you hit those peak energy spurts and what to do about it so that we can recalibrate and get you back on track. Be sure to grab a notepad and a pencil so that you can jot down your responses to these self-audit questions, and then we're going to get you on your way with some really practical strategies so that you can get things done and get back to enjoying your life. If that's what you need more of in your life today, you're in the right place. Let's simplify things together. I'm Erin Christopoulos, a mother of two and teacher-turned-mom strategist who puts the pieces of mom life together so you don't have to. I get that you're short on time and don't have the capacity to figure out everything on your own, which is why I'm here to help you get clear on where to put your focus while protecting your time and energy so you can actually enjoy these years with your little ones. I'm ditching the overwhelming and unrealistic one-size-fits-all tactics and replacing them with an approach that's practical and personal, because I believe your family is one of a kind with its own qualities and values that deserve an adaptable approach, offering support and encouragement where you need it most. From honest conversations and mindset shifts to practical tips and sustainable strategies, consider this your customizable guide to mom life. With the tools and resources you need at your fingertips, you'll finally have the confidence and clarity you need to bring more intention and ease to everyday life so that you and your family thrive. This is the Mom Life Handbook. I am so excited for us to be taking some time to be honest about the reality that each of us have our own rhythm and own peak productivity times, and that it's okay to lean into that, even if it goes against conventional wisdom around when you should be getting the most things done in your day. Honestly, I care more about you maximizing your efforts than worrying about what everyone else is telling you you should be doing. Truth be told, my own productivity shifts depending on the busyness of our life at home, what we have going on as a family or with work. And I think it's really important to also acknowledge that you could very well listen to this episode right now and go through the self-audit and come up with one peak productivity time, and then listen to it 2 months later and realize your peak productivity has shifted to a different part of the day. I think that it's really important to honor that depending on what's happening in our lives, it's going to look different because our body is going to shift and respond according to all the demands that you're trying to keep up with. So just bear in mind that this is going to always look a little different and that it's okay if you need to shift, even if you get one result today. If you notice it's no longer serving you, go back through the audit and respond accordingly. I think that that is the beauty of being really intentional about how you approach your productivity. And you're going to find that it benefits you far more than trying to be rigid and fit yourself into one approach. I know for me, the last few weeks have been incredibly demanding in terms of everything I was trying to keep up with. And I had to just ride the waves. And that was really important. And you obviously can't do it all when you're up against more demands than normal. I even noticed that I couldn't lean into peak productivity hours because I just had so much I was trying to manage all at once that it was more a matter of when I had energy, I would ride that wave. And when I was feeling really exhausted, I had to honor that and just lie low, knowing that another energy burst would come. So bear in mind that that is sometimes how things can look. But on the whole, when life is kind of at a steady and you don't feel like you have a whole lot of extra projects thrown your way, this is a great approach to try to lean into as much as you can. So let's dive into this self-audit and get started in leaning into your peak productivity times as they stand right now. This quick 5-question quiz is designed to help you pinpoint the times of day when you're most likely to be productive and energized. There's really no right or wrong answer. This is really about gaining your own personal insights to help you tailor your day to match your own natural energy levels as they are right now. One caveat would be to also bear in mind that as women, we are also really needing to be aware of where we are in our cycle. There are going to be times throughout the month where you are going to need to just take a step back, especially in the week leading up to your period. Where you are in your cycle can really impact your peak productivity times. So it might be interesting to really pay attention across a month how this looks for you, especially depending on the type of birth control you might be using that might or might not have an impact. So just keep in mind that that is definitely a factor that impacts us on top of, everything that we're trying to keep up with in everyday life. I've found that learning more about my energy levels as they coincide with my cycle have really empowered me to plan accordingly. So I'm going to share 5 quick questions with you. I want you to rate your energy level for each question on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest energy, 5 being the highest energy. And this might be something you want to track over the course of a week if you feel like committing that level of time. I think that that is a really great way to capture what your energy levels look like at different times of day across the week. But I think that this is something you can quickly do right here, right now, to just get a quick snapshot of probably on an everyday basis, this is where your energy is at its highest, at its lowest, and then you can plan accordingly. Knowing that the timing of the day associated with your highest scores are going to indicate your peak productivity periods. So let's look at your momentum in the mornings. How energized do you feel within the first hour after waking up? And when it comes to your motivation midday, how would you assess your energy level right before lunchtime? Do you feel ready to tackle challenges, or are you counting down the minutes to that break? And then I know for some of us, our alertness in the afternoon can really go up. For others, we are more than ready for a nap. I want you to consider your focus and energy during that early to mid-afternoon. Is this a time for deep work for you, or do you really struggle with that post-lunch dip? Number 4, I want you to evaluate how you feel in the early evening. Are you able to dive into tasks with enthusiasm, or are you really starting to wind down to a slower pace? And then after the kids have gone to bed, it's nighttime. Do you get a second wind for creativity and focus, or are you completely depleted and spent for the day? I want you to rate all of these on a scale of 1 to 5. You can go ahead and go back through these questions if that helps you. Remember, 1 being your lowest, 5 being your highest energy. So I want you to look at your results and identify where your energy levels are the highest. They may not feel very high, but where are they in relation to the points of day where you're feeling like you're more low energy? During those high energy productive times, I want you to think about those being the time when you can get the most checked off of your to-do list. Now, I always like to say your to-do list should be no more than 3 top priorities for the day, because there's also something to be said about the routine everyday tasks and household management and caregiving that happen throughout your day. And so if there are ways that you can lean into these points in time in your day where you are feeling your most productive, I want you to consider how you could also utilize that time, not just for your to-do list, but also to front load some work for the times in your day when you're maybe expected to be productive, but your energy levels are lower. So for me, at dinner time, I am definitely running out of energy by that point in my day. I do not feel like cooking a full-blown dinner, but my mid-morning productivity bursts that happen, that's when I start prepping dinner. I might throw something in the crock pot or get something in some marinade, because I know that if that's ready to go, I'm more likely to have an easier time getting dinner on the table and have it be a dinner that I feel good about serving to my family. So I want you to consider, with those high energy points in your day, what capacity do you have, not just for getting a bunch of to-do list tasks crossed off, but instead, how can you get one or two of those tasks crossed off, as well as front load tasks for your lower energy parts of your day? Because here's what I want to say about low energy times of day. It's going to be really hard to push through and feel super productive during those times. And chances are there still are responsibilities you need to get through at that point in your day. So what can you do to help offset that, and then strategize making those lower energy parts of your day the time where you're relaxing, you are trying to be more restorative? Those are the great times of day to connect with the kids, to have some playtime. Those are going to serve you better at your low energy points than trying to be productive during those times of day. So really get honest with yourself according to what your personal day looks like, and how you could then lean into high energy times being productive, low energy times being restorative. It's not going to be a perfect science, and it's probably going to look different on weekends than on weekdays. And it's going to be an added layer of complexity, especially if you're at a 9 to 5. Obviously, we all have our own daily agendas that need to be navigated in addition to where our energy levels are at. So I want you to really think about what that could look like for you. I know when I was teaching, I did not have a lot of say over what my day looked like, knowing especially that I didn't get to decide when my lunch hour was. I didn't get to decide when my planning periods were. I didn't get to decide when I was teaching students for the bulk of my teaching career. But I was able to decide how I utilized my planning periods, which were almost always in the afternoon when I had the lowest energy, versus my lunch period when I was at least riding that mid-morning energy wave that I still had lingering. So oftentimes I chose to work through my lunch breaks. And then for my planning periods, those were times where I was doing less planning and really more of the communication, responding to emails, grading papers, things that didn't require as much energy from me as, say, something like planning, which I would just get done while I ate. So think about what flexibility you might have there in your work day to maybe play to your peak and low energy levels as well. Now, if you're always feeling exhausted, I want you to consider this your cue that something's got to give. In the case of me having so many extra special projects on my plate in February and January, I knew something had to give. And that's not always easy, right? Like for me, that meant there were times I just couldn't record the podcast. And it pains me to say that because I love being able to provide this to everyone who is a subscriber and to be able to show up for you as consistently as possible. But at the end of the day, there are only 24 hours in that day. And sometimes something does have to give. So I had to be okay with knowing it's okay if I can't get to the podcast right now. I know it's always going to be there for me when these projects pass and I'm able to get back to it. And the relief I felt from taking extra tasks off of my priority list in order to give the time, energy, and attention to the tasks that really were the top priority at that time was a relief, because then what that allowed me to do was still then show up for myself and show up for my family in the busyness of our everyday lives, and making sure that I still had time to connect with the kids, to make sure I still had time to take care of myself. So if you find that you are constantly at low energy levels, this is your sign that something has to come off of your priority list. Really get granular about what is the absolute top priority for you at this point in time and protect those priorities. And give yourself permission, knowing that you cannot possibly get to it all, and that eventually things will settle back down and you will be able to resume the other things that typically would be a priority. I think you're going to find that by streamlining that priority list, you're able to then free yourself up, not just in terms of all the energy you're pouring into those tasks, but then also the mental clarity that provides you as well. We spend so much time trying to manage everything going on in our lives that it's mentally exhausting and taxing. And that can burn as many calories as the physical output in completing tasks. So by minimizing the output, you're conserving your energy levels, but then also you're managing less on a mental level. And so you're also conserving a lot of energy there for your body as well. And then I want you to also think about, what are you currently doing to help replenish those energy stores? If you are finding you don't have a point in your day where you feel like you have an energy boost, that's okay. It's just your cue that you do need to prioritize your own personal well-being in order to get those levels back up. It's just your body's way of communicating. We are in survival mode right now. We are doing everything we can to protect you and keep your output as low as possible because we don't have much more to give. So lean into those cues and think about what you can do in 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, where those pockets of time where you can just prioritize rest, a healthy meal, talking to a sympathetic ear. What can you do to bring those stress levels down, relax, and restore? Trust me, if you are feeling a pang of guilt around that, that is normal. It's also very conditioned in us from society. But at the end of the day, if you're finding that you don't have points in your day where your energy is naturally higher or lower and you're not getting those peaks or valleys, or you're not feeling like consistently energized, your family needs you to focus on replenishing that first, so that you can show up in the way that you feel like they deserve, right? If you aren't able to give them anything more, it's your sign that you've depleted your stores. And everyone truly will benefit if you take the time to prioritize building those stores back up. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll enjoy your time with your family more. They will get the better side of you. Everyone wins in this situation. So please don't feel guilty about it. And it genuinely does not have to take a whole lot of time. Sometimes it's just a matter of telling yourself, here's my cutoff point when I am done for the day and I am prioritizing getting, 8 hours of sleep every night this week. Like that is my one goal, making sure I get enough sleep every night. Look and see how stopping productivity at 8 and in bed by 9, or even just cutting off the doom scrolling at night or turning off Netflix and getting yourself in bed by a reasonable hour every night. Set an alarm on your clock if you need to. Just see how that alone could help shift your entire experience. So choose one small thing that you can do for yourself and begin prioritizing it, and you're going to find that those energy levels will come back up. I promise you. So let's recap what we've talked about today. We spent some time doing a self-audit on your energy levels and identified what parts of your day are best for getting things done. Those are when your energy scores were higher. And then we also identified the lower energy parts of your day. Those are when you want to prioritize restorative activities. And that could look like getting to bed at a decent hour, making sure that you're eating a healthy meal midday, giving yourself 10 minutes to just rest or read a book or do something enjoyable to you. And it also can look like taking a family walk, playing a game with the kids. These are the times when you're not trying to get as much done, but instead trying to build back up your energy stores. You're going to find that you save so much time and energy by being strategic in how you play to your highs and lows and your energy levels throughout the day. And you're going to find that it helps minimize your stress and overwhelm as a result. I wish nothing more than for you to have a sense of confidence that you know how to navigate your days in a way that really serves and benefits not just you, but your entire family. Don't hesitate to forego conventional wisdom or advice or strategies when it comes to productivity, because they are made to be one size fits all. And that just doesn't work for us. We have to really be confident in knowing what works well for us as individuals. You're going to find that you feel more confident, you feel more productive, and that only leads to a better experience in your life as a busy mom. And as we wrap up this week's episode, remember, mom life is complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's to leading with purpose and intention as you simplify mom life in the week ahead. You've just finished another episode of the Mom Life Handbook podcast. Remember to check out the episode description for all the important links and highlights from today's show. While you're there, tap the subscribe button so that new episodes are always at your fingertips. Before you go, I'd really appreciate hearing your thoughts about the show. It takes as little as 30 seconds to leave a review, and your honest thoughts help me create a better show and help other moms discover it too. And if this episode really helped you out, go ahead and hit the share button to text it to a friend or share it on social media. You never know who in your life might benefit from a little extra support. Don't forget, there are lots of ways to stay connected beyond the podcast. Head over to momlifehandbook.com for additional resources or to learn about how to work with me. And be sure to follow along on Instagram at momlifehandbook. Send me a DM to say hey or to share your thoughts on today's episode. Connecting with you personally is what I really love most. And just in case you need to hear it today, you're doing an incredible job. I know it doesn't always feel like it, but you're here, learning how to be better and do better. Keep working to bring more intention and ease into your life, and know that I'm right here cheering you on. You're creating a beautiful journey for you and your family. I am so proud of you.